Nice to meet you.
Hello.
Congratulations for your movie.
Thank you.
You've said that you've been interested in open windows since you read the script. What does this project have of why is it important or special?
Because Nacho directed it. I was a fan of his, and I heard he was working on a new film that he had just written a script. So I asked my manager at the time to get me a copy of it, and he actually was friends with Nacho's manager, who's also one of the producers on the film. So I read the script, and I loved it, and I could really, even though it was very technical, I could feel Nacho's tone in the script, and I knew it would have those moments that are uniquely Nacho Vigalondo's, where there's this sense of humor that he's able to create with the settings and with the characters. And luckily I was able to meet him and Enrique 2 weeks later after I read the script and talked about the characters, and a few months later we were filming and they chose me to play Jill, which was nice.
Being that technical, was it difficult to play your role having all the techniques, details in your head?
Well, luckily that's not my job. Nacho and the camera operators are always there setting up the shot, but it was a constant question on set. Okay, in this scene, am I aware I'm being filmed, or am I unaware that I'm being filmed? And obviously it's a different type of performance.
Jill discovers herself to the audience very slowly and gradually. How do you approach to her character?
I saw Jill as this sort of bad girl, this Hollywood bad girl that had done everything wrong but was still at the top of her career. And she's sort of reached a point where she doesn't want to be that anymore, and she wants to be taken seriously. And everybody around her doesn't want that. They want her to stay in this box because it's easy to sell. It's easy to sell to tabloids, and which is better to market their movies. And she's very used to being controlled in her life and in her career. And this is the first time she realizes that's not what she wants anymore. And she wants to be her own young woman and grow and learn. And luckily Nick Chambers comes along at that same time and inadvertently saves her life. And she's really given a second chance. So she really goes through a wave of emotions, and when you first meet her at the beginning of the film, she's already started that change. We're not really aware of it, but she's internally attempted that change, and you see that in the conversations with her manager and her agent and her best friend on the computer.
Would you say that Jill is similar to Chelsea, your role in the Girlfriend's videos, because they both have many things to say, but seems like nobody wants to listen to them?
No, I don't think so. I think Jill is sort of this very relevant figure, much of what we see in our own culture today, whereas Chelsea was much more reserved, and she knew it was part of her job to sort of be a chameleon and be able to appeal to everybody, whereas Jill, she has to be a chameleon for her work as well, except she is sort of allowed to be much more vocal about the things she wants.
Jill, as you said, is saved by someone who is not interested in her in the beginning. However, the one who really cares for her does it in a very cruel way. How do you plan it when you approach to Jill?
How did I plan what?
Yeah.
Sorry?
What is her relation with that, with the reality she is living?
Well, it's all in real time. So as you see these events unfold, specifically when she's being kidnapped, it's such a intense scene because she is afraid for her life. Nothing like this has ever happened to her. But at the same time, she is very self-aware of her surroundings. So while she's afraid and very vulnerable, literally and physically vulnerable, she's also thinking of a way to get out. She has that phone in her, she takes her phone and tries to dial the police. So there's so many things going on at the same time that I think she handled differently than maybe somebody else that didn't have as much experience in front of the camera, because she's very aware, okay, I've worked in film, so I know if I try and reach for my phone now, they won't see it.
In this moment where celebrities are being worshipped and anonymity can not be longer possible because of social networks. Do you think something like the one in Open Windows can happen?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I was actually speaking to another friend of mine who was interested in sort of the same concept of people being able to tap into your phones. It's a different sort of story, but very much in this hacker world where anything's possible. And yeah, we volunteer so much information about ourselves, and a lot of people, just normal users of social media and the internet, don't really know what they're giving up. And that becomes, we become aware of that quite often when there's a huge article released about how much information was given out that people didn't even realize.
Yeah. And if you had the chance of being Nick for one day, who would you choose to look?
I don't think I would want to do that. No, not at all. It's creepy, too creepy for me.
Now you've written a book, you created your own company or production company. Do you see yourself as an actor in the long run, or do you want to try different things?
I want to do it all. And last year, I was insanely busy on the book, touring with the Juliet Society. I finished writing it and went on tour right away. And this year I've been working on the sequel to the Juliet Society. I'm working on a rally race in South America called the Dakar. And I'm DJing, so it's nice because it allows me to really pick roles as an actor that I like, rather than having to go out for anything. I can sort of say no to the things that I feel are cliche and just sort of keep me in a box. This way I can have greater opportunities because I'm so busy doing many different things, which is nice. But I would like to do an action movie. That's on my list.
And how was the experience of shooting this film? You were in Madrid, right?
I was, yeah. I was here for a month and a half, and it was wonderful. It was in the fall, so it was very cold and dark and rainy some days. But I lived the city by night, so I really don't know Madrid. I was here for a month and a half. You would think I would know the city a little bit. No, not at all. I would probably go to sleep at 3, 4, 5 a.m., wake up when everybody was taking siesta. That was my morning. So I don't know the city too well, but I'm glad to be back.
How was the experience with working with Elijah and the other actors, because you spent most of the time alone?
Yes, we did. We all spent most of the time alone. We were always looking at a camera or having a camera look at us. And so there was very little interaction of us together. And even when we were on set together, because of some of the scenes were shot with multiple cameras and in 3D sometimes, I would be off set and vice versa. He would be on set, I'm off set, I'm on set, he's off set. So we would be feeding each other lines, and it was strange to not have that interaction and that interplay.
Why would you say the audience to come to the cinemas and buy the ticket of Open Windows?
There's never been anything made like Open Windows. Technologically speaking, it's really the first film of its kind, and I think it's such an incredible film. Nacho's worked on it for so long, and it's really great to be able to see it finally put together. And it's Nacho Vigalondo. He's hilarious, and that always comes through his films, and I really love that about him.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
That's all.
Cool. Hello, Los Interrogantes. I'm Sasha Grey.